In the coming lectures, we are going to talk about arrays and lists as far as the Python programming language is concerned. So first of all, arrays are data structures. So the aim is to make operations such as insertion and removal. By the way, at least for me, it is quite misleading in Python because lists are basically arrays. Python is implemented in the C programming language, and if you take a look at the documentation of list data structure, then you will come to the conclusion that lists in Python are basically dynamic arrays. Anyways, we are going to take a look at several examples for lists in Python. So arrays are data structures where all the items are identified with an index. This is the main advantage of arrays. Every single item in the array is associated with a given index, and of course indices starts with 0, as we have discussed in the previous lectures. The items of the array are located right next to each other in the main memory or in the RAM. This is the reason why they can be accessed with the help of an index. So the main advantage of arrays is the so-called random access feature, that we can access items based on indices. Okay, so this is a concrete example for a one-dimensional array. In this case, we are storing integers, and as you can see, every single item has a given index. The first item has index 0, second item has index 1, the third item has index 2, and so on. So every single item is associated with a given index. So every single item can be identified with a given index. Indices starts with 0. In Python, we can store different types of items in a given array or list. So it is quite common in programming languages such as C, C++, or Java that we have to define the type of items we are going to store. So we can store integers, or we can store strings, we can store floating point numbers, but we are not able to store different types of items in other programming languages. As far as Python is concerned, we can store different types of items. For example, the first item can be an integer, the second item can be a custom object, the third item can be a string, the fourth item can be a floating point number. So this is why Python as a programming language is extremely powerful and convenient. And of course, we can take advantage of the random access feature of arrays. So items are located right next to each other, so we can get these items with the help of their indices. This is why Ordo1 constant running time complexity can be guaranteed. So what does it mean? That if we know the index of a given item, for example, we would like to get the item with index 4, then we can get that item based on the index. So this operation has Ordo1 constant running time complexity. Okay, so what's crucial that, for example, if we want to create a one-dimensional array for 4 items, then these 4 items are going to be right next to each other in the so-called RAM, random access memory. So this is how we can allocate memory for 4 items. And because these items are right next to each other, we can use so-called indices. The memory address or the ID of the array is pointing to the beginning of the array. For example, the address of the array is 0x100. Then we have 5 items in the one-dimensional array, and because they are stored right next to each other in the memory, we can calculate the index of these items quite easily. So this is why the memory address of a given item is equals to the array's address, so 0x100, plus the index of that item. The index is 0 for the first item, 1 for the second item, 2 for the third item, and so on. So plus the index times the data size, so the size of a single item. Of course, we can use multi-dimensional arrays. If we have a 2-dimensional array, then every single item can be identified with 2 indices, a row index and a column index. So usually we need as many indices as the dimension of the underlying array data structure. For a one-dimensional array, we need a single index. For a two-dimensional array, we need 2 indices to identify a given item. For a 3-dimensional array, we need 3 indices, and so on. Indices starts with 0 as usual. We can store different types of items, and again we can use indices for achieving random access. Okay, so for example, we can get the item with row index 2 and column index 3 without any issue. This is the main advantage of arrays, that if we know the index of that given item, then we can get it quite fast in ordo 1 constant running time complexity. Okay, so we can store any types of items with the help of array data structures. We can use indices or so-called keys, so sometimes these are called indices, sometimes these are called keys. We can create multi-dimensional arrays as we have seen, and what's crucial is that there are two types of arrays: static arrays, when the size of the array doesn't change, or we have dynamic arrays, when the size of the array may change dynamically. And finally, let's talk about the applications of arrays. More complex data structures rely heavily on arrays because of random indexing. So because of this random indexing, we can achieve ordo 1 constant running time complexity. So this is a huge advantage of arrays, and this is why more complex data structures rely heavily on arrays, such as stacks, queues, or dictionaries, or so-called hash tables. Numerical methods prefer arrays. Most of the operations can be achieved quite efficiently, such as matrix multiplications, matrix vector multiplications, singular value decompositions, and so on. So most of the numerical methods are implemented with the help of one or multi-dimensional arrays. In the next lectures, we are going to talk about arrays-related operations, and we are going to consider the running time complexities of these operations. Thanks for watching.